Hey guys, Cards and Comics here. We are at the Boston Fan Expo with my daughter. And I'm doing a different thing today. I'm trying to find one comic book the whole show to buy. So, one book, whole show. But we'll see how it goes. Say hi. Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today, I just got home from the Boston Fan Expo. And so 1 week after the National Sports Collectors Convention, I went to the Boston Fan Expo, and I had actually money left over from the show in Chicago, the National. And I was excited to go to a comic book convention because I haven't really been to one this year, or at least one that's big. And so I'll preface it there that I thought it was going to be big. And I didn't really know what a fan expo meant. Fan expos really, mean that they're not really comic book focused. And I didn't really realize that. I thought it was going to be like Terrificon in Connecticut. I thought, well, Terrificon was amazing. And it was something that happened in Connecticut. So this thing must be, in Boston. This is going to be a huge show. And it was about 25 to 30 dealers max for comic books. So it was not huge. Secondly is I thought I would go in with the strategy of just take my leftover cash and just buy one big comic book. And I had four real conditions. I wanted either a big Spider-Man key, a first appearance of Poison Ivy, Batman 181, a very high-end Schomburg book or LB Cole book. So that's really what I was going looking for. But when I got there, I went to every table and I realized that there wasn't going to be one big book for me to really come home with, because even though there were some, like 181s and giant size X-Men, and that's really not what I was going for. I really wanted a Poison Ivy. I really like Poison Ivy. And the only copy of Poison Ivy in the whole show, Batman 181, the first Poison Ivy, was a really, really beat up copy from a dealer that I actually bought a lot of stuff from, but that copy would probably be a 1.0 at best. So that was not really what I was looking for. I am going to be talking a lot about dealers because I had a great experience, and I'll just start with Boston in general. We stayed at the Sheraton Hotel, which was a great hotel. It was connected to a mall. The mall was amazing. I took my daughter. She went shopping. She went to Brandy Melville. She went across the street. Outside the hotel, there's, Fenway's like 15 minutes away. There's tons of shops. It was a great area. We had good food. We had a lot of fun. We had a great time together. And, she's getting older. She's going to be going to college in a few years. So that was awesome. I have never experienced Boston like that, and it was super. Makes me want to go back. I'm really, really enjoyed our time. She enjoyed her time. And so that was something that I think we bonded over how much fun we had in Boston. We went to the show on Saturday, Ubered there, a little hair-raising adventure to get there by the Uber driver, which we kind of laughed about. We got in, and that to get in was very confusing and hard to do. Their badge system was definitely crazy. You had to go downstairs, scan a QR code, activate your badge, go back up, go back to another area. You just couldn't just walk in with your tickets because I had a ticket with a QR code, but that didn't actually get you in. You had to do another QR code and another entry of a number. It seemed very convoluted. But I just went to the National Sports Collector Convention, and this show did have lanes and had ways to funnel people and make it really fast. But the same issues that happened at the National was, and if you thought the National was crowded, this show was insanely crowded. Like 4 rows deep of people everywhere. Food, the food court area was just insane. It was a lot of people. This was a lot of people, and it was uncomfortable. So with only 25 to 30 dealers, we only stayed there about 2.5 hours before we left because I thought it was going to be like the National or Terrificon, which would be a couple, like 100 or 200 dealers, and that would take me a couple hours to really get the lay of the land and get the deals going. But this was smaller, reminding me a little bit of our Saratoga Comic Con, honestly, in terms of size. And we were able to get the deals done pretty quickly. Now, the dealer side of it, I'm going to talk about because I had one really bad experience with the dealer, and I'll talk about that at the end. Actually, I'll talk about it now because I think it'll set it up. Because I bought from primarily two dealers, and they were nice. They had good customer service. One of them, Moving Pictures, I bought from at Terrificon. The guy I have always had a good experience with, and he, has a mixture of Golden Age, newer stuff, variants. We like a lot of the same stuff, and he's just a lot of fun to talk to, and he's very personable. It's good customer service. There was a dealer at the end of the row, 600. I don't know his name. I've tried to go through the list to find him because he treated me in a way that I've never been treated before. Because it was just so out of the blue. And I'll just tell you what he did. But before that, the other dealer I did deals with was J&S Collectibles. What I know is on Elite's channel and sells, and he's a really good guy and gave me a good deal as well. So those two guys were awesome to work with and fun to talk to. I go down to the very end, the end cap, or the dealer at the end of the row, who had, like the bigger table, because, they have the whole width of the row, to set up. I saw him at Terrificon before. He primarily carries all Golden Age. And I walk up, and I've never bought from him because at Terrificon, I thought he was overpriced. And all of his books are raw, and I'm a little leery on Golden Age unless I really know the dealer. And, I feel like confident that, I know sort of like I feel that they're an honest dealer, right? And at Terrificon, this guy just seemed really high priced, and he was so busy, it's hard to get his attention. So I just kind of never really did much, thought with him. And since the show was so small, I'm like, hey, I'll check out his tables and see maybe if his prices are a little bit better. And I saw a Mystic Comics. I don't even know what number it was because, I don't know that run by heart. But, I remember Rocco, my buddy, had a Mystic Comics, and I said, hey, nice Mystic. And I should have known something was up was when he responded, not thank you, not yeah, it's cool, or just, yeah, do you want to see it? He responded with, it's $12,000. I mean, and so I'm like, trying to break the ice. I'm like, hey, my buddy found a really cool Mystic comic, like, I believe number one, you want to see a photo of it? He's like, yeah, in a minute, there's people over here. Just a second. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. So I pull up a photo of it, and he comes back over. I'm like, oh, he's like, I got, he gives me the hand. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to break the ice and just see if you want to see a cool book. Cause I was going to talk to him about Golden Age and what I collect. And then he came back by, after talking to this other guy. And then I had my phone out, and he's like, he just points at me. He's like, leave me alone. I cannot be bothered right now. Like, yelled at me like a little child. And he had only two other people at the table asking questions, and he had a helper. But I was just going to show him a picture of a cool book because I want to talk to him about the comics I like, to kind of like, hey, this is the stuff I like. Hey, it's similar to stuff you have. And then he stared me down, and I just put my phone in my pocket and walked away. Then he went right to his helper and pointed at me and said, I think he mumbled some words. I'm sure they weren't good. I'm like, I was just trying to talk to you and have a normal conversation about comic books because I thought maybe you'd be interested. But when he yelled at me, like, don't bother me. I need to concentrate, and pointed at me, and everyone turned and looked at me. I was like, this is not how to be a dealer and how to set up and sell comic books. So if anyone knows who that dealer was, I would appreciate in the comments, because, I went around and asked some folks, like, hey, who's the guy in the end? He was kind of a jerk, kind of yelled at me for no reason. Like, I was just trying to talk to him, and he literally lost his crap over me trying to show him a photo of a comic book. And one guy gave me a very hair-raising story about him. No dealer had anything nice to say about him. So, if you know who that was, leave me a comment. I would appreciate it, because I feel like dealers like that should be blasted when they just, do stuff like that for no reason. I think, yelling at a customer who's just trying to talk to you, and trying to figure out, trying to tell you what, hey, this is stuff I collect. I just think that was, uncalled for. And, it kind of just shocked me. I have never been yelled at like a little kid and told to basically, go away. Cause he pointed at me like to leave. I just, just shocking. I feel like, dealers like that, hopefully, are a thing of the past, because everywhere else, like I said, with the two dealers I did business with, Robert Griffin, the owner of Moving Pictures, I believe, Steve, the J&S Collectibles, those guys were awesome. In fact, we had a similar conversation with both those guys. I'm like, they're like, I like Golden Age. I like LB Cole. I like, Schomburg. And I'm like, hey, a buddy of mine ran into a big collection. You want to see some photos? Yeah, I would love to see photos. Those are awesome books. I would love to, man, that's like one in a lifetime. I'm glad you got to hold that book. That's cool. Like, good conversations, like normal human being conversations, not get out of here, leave me alone. It just still blows my mind. All right, we'll move on to comic books. We'll get rid of that bad JoJo or Mojo, right? And get into some really cool books. So the first books I'll show you came from Moving Pictures. So I'll start with kind of the, book that is kind of the oddball here. So I was going in again looking for Schomburg, Cole, and Spider-Man keys and Ivy. But this book always is a book I love. It is Dirty Pair, the Adam Hughes cover, just one of those really, really awesome variant covers. I have one copy of it already. I want to get it. I want to get one. I'm going to look to see which one's best and get one graded, and just keep it, for personal collection. And then I'll have one I can sell. I like having books like this at shows because it draws people in. Because if you're a variant collector, this is one of those books that people just love to look at. It's like Spawn Black and White. It's just, there's certain books when you have, the Legion of Superheroes Spider-Girl book, or sorry, Spider-Girl. What is wrong with me? The Supergirl book. Those books are eye-catching and brings a lot of people into your table. So this is a cool book, a good one. Next up is the only Schomburg book I got. So I could have got some more, but I felt like there wasn't a lot of Marvel books there that I felt comfortable, looking at, because they were all raw, and I just didn't feel comfortable after seeing them, with any level of restoration. I just don't know enough about them to pick out all that stuff apart, to know what's been done to the book. So I just left it there. This book, though, I talked to Robert about this book quite a bit, and I felt like this book is what it is. It's a lower grade Green Hornet number 20, but it is one of those just killer Schomburg covers. I've never seen this before in person. I think I've seen it maybe one or two online, photos, but man, it is just a crazy, wacky cover. The cover is detached, so again, that's why it was only a couple $100. But I felt like this is definitely a book that even, in a low grade like this, it still presents pretty well, even though obviously it's got, wear and creases on the cover. That it is one of those books that is so cool looking. You got Tojo's propaganda hoax around the cover. That when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that book is so cool. And Schomburg was still signing his name on these books right here. So yeah, this is one of those books that, like, to me, I couldn't pass up. I had to bring it home. It was, one I've never seen before in person. So, I didn't mind the low grade on it because, again, in a high grade, this book is super expensive. So book number 2, again, from the same dealer. And then book number 3 was the biggest book I bought the whole show. I got it at a good deal, I thought. And, even if, it depends on how grades and how all books are like that, right? But this is a key from my Spider-Man collection. And again, Spider-Man annual number 1, first appearance of Sinister Six. This is a interesting book, or to me, the reason why I was so excited about it was because of how nice that spine is. It's not split. There's no crease or no tears right through here. I mean, this book is so hard to find without creasing or splits or tears. It's just, these square bound books are just tough. The issue with this book, it's got a little bit of water damage here, but when you look through the book and we flip through the pages, it's really only on the cover. It doesn't go through every page. So I think that definitely helps condition wise. And it's got a great looking cover. A lot of bright color. Nothing torn. No creases, no rips and tears in the cover. To me, it's a solid, low to mid grade book. And to me, it's exactly the condition I was looking for. This has been on my list for 2 years. So, yeah, glad to pick it up, and, I'll get it graded eventually, and we'll see what it comes back and see if I did a good job, cause again, if it grades anywhere between a 4, 4 to 5, I've done pretty good. So, we'll see if it gets graded higher than probably a 4.5, then I definitely probably made some money on the deal. So, cool looking book. And again, to me, it presents really nice. I've seen so many of these books. They look so, for the square bound books are just so hard, but I mean, it's this part here that really is tough. And this book is solid there. So, so that was my 3 pickups there. And I like I said, that I always like buying from that dealer. Again, moving pictures, just because, again, the guy is so nice and easy to work with. So books number, second dealer. So this is J&S Collectibles. And this is one of the just classic cover books that I've always wanted to own. Tales from the Crypt number 41. It is, to me, one of those classic Tales from the Crypt covers. It's something that I think, if you're into this kind of like golden age horror, this is a cover that a lot of people love. And it wasn't very expensive, a couple $100 again, for this book. And I feel like, that's a great price. It's graded. It's a 4.0. It's got some damage here. But for the most part, this part is the most important, right? So if this was all damaged, I wouldn't have bought it, but this was great right here. That part to me is the most important on this kind of book. And I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a 4.0. It's graded. I don't have to worry about it. And so again, this was one of those books I didn't expect to find or was looking for, but when I saw it, I'm like, that's a cool book. I got the money for it, and I'm just going to take it home and not have to worry about buying it ever again. Because now I've got it for the old collection. Next up is the other book I bought from that same, from Jane S. And this is L.B. Cole. So Shocking Mystery, number 58. And again, this is, to me, again, this isn't as much of a horror as kind of his crime. But it's got all the cool things about L.B. Cole that I love. Let's start with colors. Green cars, orange background, the fade from red to orange. You've got his autograph right here. which is, I love seeing his autograph on, that is what, I just like the fact that he signed his work. A lot of artists in this time period, you didn't see signatures. Like Schomburg went from, signing things, Schomburg to Zila, back in the day. So changed his autograph. I like the LB Cole autograph. Then you got, the guy getting shot and killed. I mean, pretty gory still. It's, and then these shocking mystery books can get pretty gory. And I think this is one of those just really cool books that, again, not too expensive, but to me, I felt like it was a book that, for the price point, and it's already graded, and I felt like it just presents really well. When you look at this cover, I don't, I know it's got, again, that damage here. That's usually where we see it. It's got some foxing. I felt like prices were fair. Those books do not, come up, every day. I mean, the Tales from Crypt is a little easier to get, so it's a little later. Like, these are all 50s golden age, but still, one of those books that, we get a lot of LB Cole collectors, but again, this is a lot of classic LB Cole. And then finally, last book was from a different dealer, and unfortunately I didn't grab a card, so I don't know exactly his name, but I love every book in this series. There's only four books in this whole run, but Power Comics number 4. I mean, this is just golden age awesomeness. You got the giant bird grabbing these people. I guess they're miniaturized because you got jewels here, but man, just awesome. And again, you got the red orangish background. You still got some green on here, so classic LB Cole mannerisms. The page is torn up here, but other than that, I mean, the cover is really nice. It's really intact. I mean, if you look at it in totality, it is a really good condition. I mean, for 3.5, I was actually a little shocked. I mean, I know it's missing a little piece here, but man, it presents really nice in this condition. So yeah, I was very surprised to find Power Comics Cole book at the show, and he didn't really have a ton of Golden Age, so this is kind of out in the middle of or on the bottom row and just kind of hanging out, and I was really excited to get it. It's just it's one of those oddball series, but just a very strong, I think, cover for Cole. And it's just unusual. I like the fact that he does all these different types of covers. And so you get these kind of like, I guess animal covers, his horror covers, his crime covers, so that's what I like about collecting Cole, is that you get a lot of different genres. So that's it, guys. That's my update from the Boston Fan Expo. Had a lot of fun in Boston. And I did feel like I picked up some really nice comic books. Picked up that Spider-Man Annual 1, first Sinister Six, a lot of great Cole books, a lot, a good Schomburg book. So to me, it was well worth the trip. And hopefully you guys can let me know who the other dealer was, because I just want to avoid him from now on. He is definitely on my no-buy list from now until eternity. So he made the very short list of dealers like that. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next time on Cards and Comics. Thank you. Bye.